Hey guys, so here bringing you another video. Now welcome back to Climb to Master, the series where we take my main account and attempt to climb to Master again, because we did it last season. Anyway, here's the loading screen. We'll also note this is a POV commentary. I played this game last night and it was a really good game, and I think there's a lot of good educational content to come from it, and it's pretty entertaining. So a lot to digest, feel free to pause it, but basically it's like a Diamond 3 game on average. I'm Diamond 4 in promotion series to Diamond 3. My Yuumi is Diamond 4, but apart from that, everybody else is already Diamond 3. I think I go over the ranks of like what people peaked at, and I was a bit surprised. I was like, Platinum what? Wait, Platinum 1? What? But the win rate on Cassio is really good. We obviously have a duo with the Hecarim and the Cassio, and then the enemy team has a duo with the Scion and the Mouse. Now, one thing I will mention, if you look at Professor, obviously little bits here or there, it tells you things. So, for example, the Sona is a Yuumi one-trick, so she's not going to be very comfortable, and a number of things can come from that, especially when it comes to Yuumi mains. Another thing is the Scion is duo with the Mouse, and if you look on his profile, it says roaming. You got to digest that, and that is why, again, I like it that we're an official partner of Professor. I do really recommend it. If you guys want to climb, if you don't get tilted by like kind of looking at experience of players, it tells you a lot of information, so I'd recommend it. Now, yes, you are, by the way, watching me. Put on the chat on my main account. People will think I've gone mad. Now, there's two reasons why I did that. One, from memory, you're about to see me type a warning to the Cassiopeia. So again, when you have information about the enemy team, Scion is a roamer. He's duo Q with the Malzahar mid lane. So yeah, Malzahar mid ults, Scion ults right, into the Cassio when she can't move. I wanted to warn the Cassiopeia, for that's one reason. Secondly, this was actually a really good game when it came to the players. Not by how they played. What I mean by that is, and by the way, they did play well, but the attitude. I got a vibe in Champion Select, and sometimes you do, that it's like, these players are like, nice. It sounds bad, but that's really rare in League of Legends nowadays. I wish it wasn't, but it is. And that's why I do recommend generally having chat off. It really doesn't help your climb at all. It probably hurts it more than helps it. But I got a vibe in Champion Select that these players are pretty cool. They're nice, they're friendly, people are actually joking a little bit. And you'll see in this game, we joke later on, and there's a couple of funny little moments. So the Hecarim actually does a good thing here. So a notorious thing that Scion does, it's kind of the same as like Twitch jungle nowadays. Like, Twitch will take red and then gank mid. Scion top is notorious for trying to steal the top lane buff at level 1. That basically, as Scion, you can do it. You can get killed by it, kill it in your passive form, take the buff, and then teleport to top lane with stealing the enemy buff. It's like the known thing. So that's probably why Hecarim started that, just to completely avoid that situation. So you'll see, I took a bit of a long way to get to top lane. I'm not interested in taking a level 1 full ramp-up queue from Scion. Maybe I could have gone that way and like avoided it, but the one thing I'll say about Scion, I somewhat recommend him and don't recommend him at the same time. That might sound weird. For pure 1v1 meatiness of like, winning your matchup, he's insanely kind of easy to play. Like there's nothing to Scion. He's really strong stat-wise. He can beat a lot of things in duels. And in mid to late game, you're very tanky. So in that aspect, I would recommend him. You can see how much damage he's dealing already is absolutely insane for what is, in essence, a tank at level 2. So that is worth noting. But the problem with Scion is that I always find it's actually very hard to sometimes make an impact apart from your lane. So yeah, Scion's going to be annoying and he could like take away farm from you. As a Shen, I'm a bit scared. I don't think I'm ever going to die to him per se, but I know I could like lose a lot of health, and then the jungler could come top lane and I could die. So I'm going to play a bit like careful, which also could mean that I'm going to lose out on farm. And apologies for any FPS lag, by the way. Just to make the point clear, why does FPS lag occasionally happen? It's me tabbing out of the game. So yeah, if you see in the top like right 135 FPS and it drops down to like 17, I'm tabbing out of the game. So yeah, but yeah, he is pushing in really heavily, which is kind of what I would say. It's something that I do because I get bored a little bit while playing. I think people know this. But this player, it shouldn't surprise people by him having a completely, I'm just pushing, because while it's hard to farm apparently on the tower, good kills in bot lane, the guy's playstyle. Remember we saw on Professor roaming, well, naturally, a Scion player that wants to roam is going to need to heavily push in to allow him then to go roam. Now, that is something that I normally don't buy, but I will say this was my 3rd or 4th game in a row of the evening that I was playing. And I didn't record any of them apart from this one, we'll just say, because again, to recover the account, I have needed to start playing by myself and like without making content. But I was like, you know, let's do it. We're in a kind of deciding promotion series game. You know, season 10 so far for me has been pretty bad. I think there's no hiding that. I think it's been bad for a lot of people, while I can't last hit. And I will say, not as an excuse, but I will claim it as an excuse. So yesterday was a really bad day on stream, and after the stream, I'm not really sure if it's linked. People can let me know in the comments, but apparently I might have been getting very worked up and stressed. Yeah, I finished the stream and near enough instantly had a nosebleed. So that was a little bit worrying. And why I was bringing up that point is apparently, which I didn't know, when you have a nosebleed, you digest probably quite a lot of blood, and that upsets your stomach really badly. I never knew this, so for the whole evening, I felt really sick. And I didn't know why. I was like, why am I feeling so sick? So I got in bed after this game, and I Googled, like, feeling sick after nosebleed, and I was like, oh, that's a thing. I had no idea. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's some health advice from HuzzyGames. Meanwhile, by the way, nothing crazy is going to happen in top lane for the early games. That's why I don't mind talking about other things. You'll see me occasionally start trading a bit more with this Scion. The game before this, from memory, I played against an Ornn. And that was a hard matchup. Shen eventually can do well versus Ornn, but it requires Titanic Hydra, because obviously Titanic Hydra actually gives Shen some tank killing capabilities. And yeah, like the game just went pretty good, and I don't even think I got to getting Titanic in the 1v1. But Ornn obviously naturally just stupidly overpowered right now. But Shen is quite effective, and again, it sounds weird. I do recommend Shen and don't recommend Shen for solo queue. What I mean by that is if you can trust your teammates, then I heavily recommend Shen for solo queue. I think he's great. I think he's amazing for solo queue. Meanwhile, bot lane's abusing the Sona. I think he's great for solo queue in general. His 1v1, if you're a good Shen, his 1v1's actually really good. Meanwhile, Scion teleports bot lane. And by the way, why am I teleporting on the Hecarim? I legitimately, while I get a double taunt, really nice, I actually thought the Varus was dead. So it's the worst situation as a Scion sometimes. You're like, I'm going to ult to go to the team fight. And the person I ulted died anyway, and now I'm stuck in top lane. So I ulted the Hecarim to make sure I got there. Luckily, the Varus survived. I got a double taunt. He survived, and we get 3 kills. So that was wonderful. Really nice play. Good roam by me, if I do say so myself. We're going to go back and buy my Bammies, which again, my Bammies gives me my a little bit of wave clear. For those that are wondering, why not go Tiamat for straight away? Squishiness against Scion, I'm a little bit worried about it. And yeah, so this is where the jokes start happening. The Varus, help, my league is broken. And I was like, oh, here we go. And I genuinely was like ready, like, oh, my keyboard, my mouse is broke, or my internet's about to go down. I was waiting for something negative. And then he says that. Why are there so many allies bot? Usually it's 5 enemies. And then straight away, that's kind of how I knew. I was like, hey, these players are genuinely really nice. And that's what I'd say. League of Legends, I've said it forever, is legitimately my favorite video game. I trust me, I even though it's my job, I would not be playing this video game, doing this content, if I didn't enjoy the game after 10 years. I genuinely do enjoy and love this game. The community, however, is a different story. The community is definitely the negative 99% of the time. But then you get these occasional outliers. Meanwhile, yeah, so there's a good play that they got the Scion. Cassio's going to try and survive. Unfortunately, Lee Sin lands his Q. And then the weirdest of misfortune roam mid happens. And I guess that just kind of, you know, makes the play a bit awkward. Hecarim was maybe looking to go aggressive. And I shouldn't have roamed, by the way. Like, I could have 100% caught up in farm to the Scion if I stayed top lane. And this is something that I do. And again, when you're looking to climb and I'm recovering the account, there is something that I'm going to have to like work on. And that is playing more selfishly. And that's the weird thing. I'm playing Shen, and Shen is known to work with his team really well. But like then, I should have stayed top. Selfishly, if I stayed top, I would have caught back up in farm. I get so much more gold. I'm already ahead in kills and assists to the Scion. Boom, I'm starting to win top lane really nicely. Instead, I'm like, oh god, my team. And I kind of panic, and then I leave top lane, and then it doesn't matter, and I just lost out on 2 waves of farm. So that is something that I really need to work on as a player of League, is to be like, well, it's in essence to trust your team more. It's to, like, trust that, all right, I'm in Diamond technically. These players should know what they're roughly doing. They're on their own. I'm going to stay top lane. I'm going to get a bunch of gold and see how it goes. I really need to do that. It's the same thing in mid to late game with split pushing or side laning maybe. When I'm playing mid and top of my 2 main roles, you have to side lane in mid game as a mid and top laner to maximize your farm. I don't do that. So I always in mid to late game fall behind to my opponent. Always, practically every game. So what you'll also see, by the way, is I'm now using Taunt to avoid his Q. It feels sucky to do it, but it's something that I feel like I have to do. I am now, by the way, already pinging that Scion is going. And remember what Professor said, by the way. They're going to go for a play on the Mouse. Really nice game by Hecarim, and who's in mid. So this is where I'd say, again, I might have already mentioned it. Ulting the Hecarim, by the way, just to give the dive potential. I look for the taunt, but he dies anyway. Lee Sin now's coming through. I'm going to land my... well, actually, just get away. And Lee Sin, unfortunately, kicks me and misses his Q, which is... always weird because it's in a straight line. So that's a big mess up from Lee Sin. Nice assist there by me, and we survive again. But this is where, again, I know they're a partnership website for me, but if you can find any of them, it doesn't have to be Professor, although I would recommend it. These loading screens help a lot with winning games. Like, genuinely, the Scion, his whole playstyle is summarized on Professor, and we looked it up before the game happened. Like, roaming. We know he's going to roam, and because his duo partner, which also Professor tells us, is the mid laner, we know where he's roaming as well. Like, that's why I'd recommend it heavily. Furthermore, remember that Professor told us that the Sona on the enemy team is a Yuumi one-trick. Now, not to obviously go a bit ham and cheese on one-tricks, we've done that over the years quite a lot, but worth noting, and I am typing it down there, without sounding bad, again, we all can have our opinions about one-tricks, that, you know, when a one-trick isn't on their champion, they're generally going to struggle. Yuumi one-tricks are probably going to struggle the most out of probably any champion in League. And why I mean that is, well, a Yuumi doesn't most of the time position herself. So if it's a Yuumi one-trick, and I think this Sona had something like 200 games of Yuumi, and the next champion had like 10 games, so a proper one-trick, they're going to be really bad with positioning when they're not playing Yuumi, because while they're playing Yuumi, they don't position at all. So that's something that you do have to think in the back of your head, especially when it comes to Yuumi one-tricks, is like abuse them heavily, because they're not going to have great positioning at all. I'd say on average. But yeah, so far the game's going good. Again, there he is, again, pinging the roam. And this is where the good thing is, you know, warn your team. And that's all you can in essence do is, you know, hey, he's got a roaming playstyle. I'll, you know, ping when he's looking for them. And yeah, it's up to the Cassiopeia at that point. Yes, I'm Shen, which is actually quite good against his roaming playstyle because I can ult. But I can't ult maybe every single time. I can't follow him every single time. That's where you could do, like, rely on communication and trust. But so far, again, the game hasn't been super exciting. It's been fine. 1v1, what I will say, and by the way, how does that hit, like... And this is the point that we were making earlier. Scion is really good for 1v1s, and yeah, my farm is a bit lower. Again, I was feeling pretty ill. Again, I was saying that earlier. I wasn't feeling great, so I know I wasn't playing my best. But yeah, so, again, another roam by Scion. Yeah, like, he, in essence... Shen is really good, like, to counter this playstyle. So I haven't committed yet. I am now committing with the Hecarim. I ult early, by the way, just to kind of get there. And this is the point that I was making. Lee Sin has to flash out the Yuumi ultimate with me. Is Scion, same playstyle. He's done it now for the 3rd time this game. Roams mid lane, and I can just ult to, like, counter it completely. And because Cassio is mentally now aware, we warned her, yo, he's going to roam. She's probably ready for it. So I actually go for a kind of crazy play. I taunt under the tower to try and save the Hecarim from Mal's ult. We did stop the Mal's ult, unfortunately a bit too late, with the Sonar ult on top of it as well. It was too much damage, and that will, I think in the NBA 2-for-1, I think Scion died, I think Misfortune died, and then I think just Hecarim died. So overall worth. And yeah, I'm just typing the bottom is literally, like, Scion is doing the same play all game. He's pushing top lane with his, like, Q, because his QW combo just clears a whole wave as a tank. He does that, and then just ults mid. Again, and again, and again. So what I will say with climbing and being good league and that, try not to be predictable, I'd say. When you become predictable, that's when the enemy team can plan ahead and, like, plan around it. I am typing, again, we're having a great, nice conversation in chat, which is really rare. But yeah, I'm just typing, like, his 1v1 power is kind of still dumb. Surprises me, how much his Q does. I haven't played against a Scion in ages. I don't know if any of you have. And I was legitimately in this game being a bit shocked, like, dude, his Q is just ripping me apart. He's built no damage. And it's just crazy how much his Q is doing. And I know I haven't gone from, like, for the tankiest Shen build. But yeah. So we're getting ganked. I think maybe for the first time. I'm going to hold the Lee Sin for a bit. And you can see I've half health the Lee Sin, by the way. Hecarim now coming. I get the kill with Hecarim. They didn't kill me quick enough. I honestly don't know if I was even going to be dead there because they didn't do a lot of damage in that play. And the Lee Sin's a bit iffy. So we get a nice kill from the Lee Sin. Good counter gank by Hecarim. That's what you want to see. If you're wondering, by the way, runes, worth noting, we go for Resolve, Grasp the Undying, naturally. This game, I actually tried out a new rune set for Shen. So normally I go Resolve Precision, and I go for the attack speed or tenacity, depending what I'm laning against. Meanwhile, I take this fight against Scion. Not really sure why I did this, by the way. I'm not dead, I'm pretty sure, because like my damage output is actually not that bad. I'm just going to be a little bit careful while he's charging. We flash. So again, not bad. I was just kind of testing the waters. And damage-wise, if I was on full health, maybe we'll be fine. But instead of going... Resolve Precision, this game I went Resolve Domination for the sole purpose of going Ultimate Hunter for my ultimate. So when I'm involved in a kill, I think, of the enemy team per 5 people, I get ultimate cooldown reduction. That's obviously very good for Shen. So I don't know, I didn't mind it. I actually may have preferred it. And yeah, it didn't do much for the 1v1. My farm was a bit low, and that's probably a combination of 1, I'm generally not amazing at farming. 2, I was feeling pretty ill. And 3, it was late at night, so I was tired. So yeah, we're getting every excuse out today. Anyway, they're diving the Malzahar. I think from memory as well, this Malzahar was a one-trick Vladimir player that got banned out. Unfortunately for me, I got a little bit distracted. You saw my mouse was literally about to go over to ult the Hecarim to save him. Unfortunately, a millisecond too late to get the shield on him. And also, I ult Cassio. She died. I'm actually happy that she died while my ultimate, because I would have been then in the whole enemy team. But I think my ult might have helped her get a kill. We did get an assist for one of them, which I guess isn't too bad. But my team is playing a little bit hyphy, a little bit crazy, which isn't a bad thing. Like, if you look at the score, we're doing really well. So arguably, yeah, when you're ahead, you should push your lead. People ask me all the time, how do I close out games? I'm getting fed. How do I do it? Yeah, making plays, being aggressive. I'd say the common one, like the most common one, push objectives. If you're massively far ahead of the enemy team, get every single dragon. Take every dragon fight. You know, either you're going to get every dragon for free, and then your lead will just be extended. Or if you're really far ahead, that means the enemy team is going to try and fight you at those dragons. And because you're far ahead, you're going to beat them in the fights. Objectives are a generally good thing to rotate around when it comes to pushing your lead, pushing your strength, etc. So yeah, that's what I'd say. So ultimate, again, my ultimate cooldown at this stage of the game is still pretty long. Sona nearly getting one shot, does die by the Hecarim. Hecarim is now continuing the fight, gets 2 kills by himself. Malzahar now trying to kill the Hecarim. And Hecarim, by the way, yeah, he was going to get a solo triple kill. Cassiopeia gets an assist. But if you looked at the health bar in the bottom right, Hecarim was never below like half. So he was never going to die in that situation. So that's kind of funny. Like, Hecarim, I still rate incredibly heavily for solo queue, by the way. And, you know, we're taking a little bit more trades with the Scion. For those who are wondering, in this individual matchup, is there ever an instance that you can start beat him? Titanic. And by the way, like, look at the chat again. I like this Varus. He was like, something isn't right. Someone start flaming. Because legit, every game someone's flaming. Like, the league has turned into such a hostile environment that you expect, all right, who's the flamer this game? Who's the crazy person? No one was. Everybody was cool. And obviously it helps the game is going really nicely, obviously. But it never felt like it could have raged anyway. Like, I never felt like, oh, that guy, like, might just, you know, because what I'd say sometimes, and let me know if you guys agree, in Champion Select, you're like, the guy that types a lot in Champion Select and is like, you know, oh, guys, you should pick this. Oh, top laner, pick that champion. If the guy that's telling people what to play, you're like, oh, God, if this game goes bad, he's going to start raging. You can sometimes feel it. Didn't get that at all. Anyway, my team gets caught out a little bit. They went a bit too aggressive. Hecarim has basically no mana. And this is where, again, notice I didn't teleport. Huzzy being greedy, because we said earlier, I can't always go to help my team. I can't always hold their hands. And the play right now shouldn't be on. My Hecarim has no mana. My Varus has low mana. Just back off. Like, I don't want to go teleport to a fight that I would be probably running away from anyway. So I be selfish, I stay top lane, and I get the tower. I'm happy about that I did that, because that at least gives me gold. Now, one thing I will say, I think I should have done differently this game. And again, this is what this POV commentaries are good for. I kind of wish I actually didn't go for Sunfire. I kind of wish I went for Titanic at this stage. We could have bought both. We had enough gold to finish each item. Titanic would have potentially given me kill pressure on Sion right now. Sunfire doesn't. Sunfire is good when I teleport in and I taunt people. I'm doing AoE fire damage. That's good. But a lot of this game is pushing a Shen, you know, having that side lane pressure. That's what my ultimate is in essence for, is being in the side lane, pushing, and even forcing the Sion to be with me, which I want him to be, because I can ult away, he can't, or like, well, he can, but like not as fast. I can teleport to a fight with my ultimate and give a shield, or force the Sion to go for a bad engage. I can split push nicely, and then come in when he's already there. In essence, that's what I'm looking for. So Titanic, I think, would have been a better idea. And again, that's good. It's a good thing for me to think about, rationalize with, and kind of like look to the future of like recognizing of like, all right, you're against a tank. Titanic gives tank killing pressure, gives better split push pressure, and you are side laning a lot. You want to side lane more. You want to have that split push pressure. Titanic was the better buy. And I'm only going to like think about that because I'm doing this POV commentary. So that's good. Anyway, potential engage happening. I think this is a bit too crazy. But I'm going to go for the ultimate play on him. We do keep him alive. I'm going to go for a taunt, and I get an assist on the Malzahar. By the way, Hecarim hasn't died. I am tanking, by the way, on purpose. You notice I'm staying in a little bit late, and then I leave after I'm close to death. So overall, really good play. Yuumi, again, I don't rate Yuumi very heavily for solo queue. I think people know that. Meanwhile, weird Varus flash, fortunately. I don't rate Yuumi on average for solo queue. In duo, I think it works a lot better. But solo is a bit iffy. But I can't, you know, you can't argue that when Yuumi is attached to a strong, especially I'd say bruiser, in the middle of a team fight, it is near unstoppable. You put a Yuumi on a Hecarim, or even like hell a Garen, and yes, that's me saying that. It's really hard to deal with, and naturally, us having a very fed Hecarim this game, Yuumi is a great partner for him. Did a risky base there, by the way. Don't know if anybody was noticing. The enemy team was very close to stopping me, but I felt like I timed it well, and I did. Gonna probably head back up to top lane. And yeah, I'm just showing there that I do have complete ultimate hunter stacks, 5 out of 5, which is giving my ultimate a low cooldown compared to what it normally would be. And if I'm not mistaken, the next dragon is Cloud Dragon. That is something that I want as Shen. There are certain champions that prioritize certain dragons. The best dragon for Shen by far is the Cloud, because it gives ultimate cooldown reduction. That's incredible for Shen. So I'm just pushing top lane. There are actually pings on Baron right now, but the one thing to note is if I just suddenly leave the cannon minion and all the farm and I go straight to Baron, you have to remember that makes things a little bit obvious. So you've got to be sometimes careful about it. I go for a taunt flash play. Unfortunately, again, that wasn't Hecarim's fault. That wasn't Cass's fault. We all blow our ultimates, by the way. That was a bit hyphy for me, to be honest. Yeah, a little bit too much. Cassio getting a bit, again, overstaying is probably the right thing. But if you look at bot lane, the whole enemy team is here, apart from Misfortune. Cassio gets caught by the Malzahar ultimate. But meanwhile in bot lane, it's a trade, technically 1-for-1. If I'm honest, I would actually, if the Misfortune didn't die, they might have been like, oh, let's try Baron. Misfortune dies in bot lane, and that is going to stop all of the pressure around the Baron. Now the enemy team is like, oh god, we've got to go back to bot lane and stop that. And yeah, I'm just typing, I like the Wind Dragon as Shen. And yeah, I don't know, Shen might actually be one of the best champions for this dragon. If, by the way, worth noting, weird tangent about Cloud Dragon, or Wind, whatever you want to call it. Udyr obviously gained nothing from this dragon a couple patches ago. They actually did patch Udyr something in, I think on recent patch. That is a brand new thing to League of Legends, technically. So in video games that have spells, there is normally something called global cooldown. That usually is about a second. And what that means is you can't use the same spell or, you know, a different spell within about a second of each other. It's called the global cooldown. So yeah, you can have a cooldown that your ability is 10 seconds, but every 1 second you can cast basically a different ability or the same one if it has no cooldown. And that's generally, I think, a second in League of Legends. It might be just under. And that's never been changed. Every champion has the same global cooldown. Udyr, when he kills Cloud Dragons, because obviously his ultimate doesn't benefit from it at all, when Udyr gets Cloud Dragon stacks, meanwhile Cassio going for a nice kill, solo kill on the Sona, he actually reduces his global cooldown. That's unheard of. That's never happened in League of Legends. No champion has a global cooldown reduction mechanic, now apart from Udyr. So that's kind of cool. Meanwhile, the Sion, who has been very predictable in his play, does it again, goes for an all-in. And you notice, I'm not ulting straight away. I'm being patient. And Sion just, like, ults the whole way through. And again, this is where we've spoken about earlier, is I could ult and, like, help my team straight away. But I am wanting to play more selfish. My farm, I do want to now, like, farm up. We've got Titanic. So, split push. And by the way, like, yes, I get Titanic. And I think I got 1 farm in that wave. So, well done, Huz. You want to side lane more. But if you only get 1 farm out of, like, the 6 or 7 in the minion wave, that doesn't help very much. Meanwhile, Hecarim's going top lane. Again, looking just with my ultimate. My bot lane is chasing the Sion. My Lee Sin, not my Lee Sin, the Lee Sin on the enemy team is getting killed by the Hecarim. Again, just having a little glance as Shen on the health bar situation of my team. They both seem fine. Right now, if you're wondering where my eye is yeah, it's these two. It's the bot lane because they're overly chasing the Sion throughout the whole map. That's giving the enemy team plenty of time to kill him. And yeah, why did you go for an ult, Huz? I don't know. If I'm honest, I wanted an assist. Why not? And I was a little bit worried. Like, they've been chasing for so long. The enemy team probably... And like, let's be honest, that Sion would probably be spam pinging. Help me! Help! And no one was helping. So I got another cheeky assist. Again, look at the score, ladies and gentlemen. We are currently 209. This has actually been a very good game for Shen. And, you know, farm-wise, as we mentioned a couple of times, for a number of reasons, we are still behind in farm with the Sion. I think I would catch up, you know, if this game went for another 10 minutes or so, with side laning more, having Titanic and stuff. I think I would definitely catch up. But it's been a great game. You know, we've done some really good ultimates. We've actually done some really good taunts here or there. We've done some good counterplay to the Sion. And if my memory serves correct, yeah, the Sion right now, by the way, is 0-6. He's having an awful game. Meanwhile, we're having a good game. And it's also just a differentiation of the champions. This Sion, I was very surprised by his Q power and the damage output when he was building a full tank. No damage items. His damage was insane. I was getting really surprised by that. So, I don't know, like, it's a bit weird. So this was a weird situation as well. So I'm just going to go for a bit of tower play. And Cassiopeia goes the completely wrong way. While with the Misfortune ultimate, she should have gone down. She went up and then got herself caught. I'm just delaying a boom, double taunt. Really nice taunt, if I do say so myself. That was really nice. That's a triple kill. Lee Sin going a bit aggressive. Hecarim under the tower, a little bit too long. Quadra kill, never mind. Yuumi heals him to keep him alive. And that might be the game. KDA for me is now 2-0-12, 100 nearly 50 farm, and I think they might... Oh, wait, I don't actually think the game is over, because the one person left is the Sona, and yes, they try to go for the Pentakill. So that is 2 executes, so the Sona did no damage to 2 of them, even though that should have probably been a triple kill for her. She got 1 of them, though, and yeah, that is not now the end of the game. And remember, like, look at the Yuumi, by the way, because, like, remember, the Yuumi's attached to people. She just got, like, ran onto the god tower. She's like, no! They're asking for a ward. I don't have a ward up, unfortunately, so I ping that, and I'm just going to base. So, again, really nice, light-hearted game. If I'm honest, I ended the game. I ended my league playing on this game, because I will say, yeah, I was feeling really ill after, like, during this game. So I was like, okay, that'll it. But we left this game on a really big high. Like, I felt great. I finished this game, you ready for this, everybody, with a smile on my face. Amazing. Like, oh my god. Again, they're talking about bounties, and I'm just pointing out I clearly win that wall because the lowest bounty wins. Clearly, that's the way that it should be. Me and Cassio are going to look for a play on the duo Q. Remember, there should be communication between the Scion and the Malzahar. Ultimate comes through. I go for a taunt play with the flash. Really nice, get the double taunt. Now me and the Cassio are going to go on the old Scion. He's landing his Q. Again, doesn't do too much more damage anymore. And as a Shen now with Titanic, I am dealing a lot more damage with it. So you can clearly see, and I am now 2 levels above the Scion. So even though the lane was a bit iffy in the 1v1, not everything, and that's the cool thing to say about League, not everything's about the 1v1. I think too many people like really, I don't know, they focus too heavily on lane phase 1v1s when League is a 5v5 team game. And this game, we've played, let's be honest, really well as a team Shen. We did okay in the 1v1. We never died, which is good. We've helped a lot. We've saved a lot of lives. We've done some good taunts. We've had some good pressure here or there. It's been a good game. Like I was moderately happy with how I played. You know, if you're saying 10 out of 10 is like, oh my god, dude, you played fantastic, I'd probably give myself a 7 out of 10 for this game. Could have been better, and mainly I'd say in the farm area. But other than that, like I honestly thought I played pretty well, and that also means, by the way, which we'll see in a moment, we get promoted. So, as I mentioned, Season 10 has been a pretty bad season for me. Weirdly, that we got to Diamond really fast. Like, really fast. Like, didn't take much time at all. It might have even been the fastest I ever got back to Diamond in a new season. And then we had that 13-game loss streak that got me to, like, a near 40% overall win rate. We're still technically a negative win rate. I think I pointed out here in the top left. I'm 46 wins, 48 losses overall. So 2 more wins without a loss, and I'm now on a neutral win rate. But escaping Diamond 4 is like the biggest breath of fresh air to me, because Diamond 4, I'm going to just say it right now, not to mean to offend people, Diamond 4 sucks. Like, Diamond 4, like, low Diamond is not the same that it used to be a couple years ago. It's a lot worse. So escaping that, you know, when people say about ELO Hell, genuinely, I don't believe in ELO Hell apart from maybe Diamond 4. Diamond 4 is, like, legitimately the worst rating in the game. Anyway, didn't take too much damage, did mediocre damage, but overall, a really nice game. But yeah, I'm over the moon that I've escaped Diamond 4, and I do think the main account is now being recovered. I feel like I'm playing better. And by the way, I'm playing top lane again. I think, committing. I'm just going to play top lane. I do think it's probably my best lane overall. I'm more comfortable there. I know what to do. So, yeah. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you are happy that the games are going a bit better, and yay, Huzz, you got promoted, throw a like on the video, throw a subscribe. And yeah, I'd say live commentaries might be back pretty soon on this account. Obviously, we did one the other day, but it's kind of maybe like going to be those like non-commentaries. Like, mentally, I'm not thinking I'm commentating, but I commentate anyway. But that's going to be it. If you guys enjoy, throw a like on it, throw a subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. See you.